Good day. Today, we are taking you on a fascinating journey through time, a journey that traces the evolution of money in Nigeria, from ancient cowrie shells to the digital Naira of today. This is a story of independence, identity, and economic transformation. A story that spans centuries and involves some of the most influential figures in Nigeria history. Every time you hold a Naira note in your hand, you are holding a piece of Nigerian story. But how did we get here? What came before the Naira? And who were the visionaries that shaped our currency into what it is today? Now, let's begin at the very beginning. Long before Nigeria became a nation, long before colonial rule, our ancestors conducted trade using what we now call commodity money. In different parts of what would become Nigeria, people used cowrie shells, colorful beads, glass bottles, farm produce and metal objects called manillas as currency. These weren't primitive systems, they were sophisticated networks of exchange that sustained entire economies. Each region had its own preference. Cowrie shells, small and durable, were particularly popular across West Africa. They would be counted, stored, and transported relatively easily. This was money that worked for our people, by our people. But in the 1880s, everything changed. British colonization brought with it the British pound, shillings, and pence. Our traditional currencies were gradually phased out, replaced by foreign money that served foreign interests. For nearly 8 decades, Nigerians would conduct their daily transactions in the currencies of their colonizers. The West African Currency Board was established to manage currency across British West African colonies, Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Gambia. We shared not just a currency, but monetary policy, dictated thousands of miles away in London. Our economic sovereignty was non-existent, but independence was coming, and with it, the dream of our own currency. On July 1st, 1959, just months before full independence, the Central Bank of Nigeria made history. It issued Nigerian currency banknotes for the very first time. The West African Currency Board notes were withdrawn. We were still using pounds, shillings, and pence, but now they were our own pounds, Nigerian pounds. The first governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria was Roy Pentelo Fenton, an expatriate who served from 1958 to 1963. He oversaw this crucial transition period, but the real transformation was yet to come. In 1962, 3 years after our first currency issued, the notes were changed again, this time to reflect our new status as a republic. Notes that once read Federation of Nigeria now proudly bore the inscription Federal Republic of Nigeria at the top. Small changes perhaps, but symbolically enormous. Then came the Civil War from 1967 to 1970. Nigeria was torn apart by conflicts with the Republic of Biafra. Currency became a weapon. Banknotes were misused, counterfeited, and manipulated. In 1968, the government was forced to change the notes again, and this time for security reasons. The war left deep scars on Nigeria, including our currency. As the 1970s began, Nigeria was rebuilding. Oil revenues were flowing, the economy was growing, and there was a growing sentiment that Nigeria needed its own unique currency, not just a Nigerian version of British money, but something entirely our own. Then enter Chief Obafemi Awolowo, a brilliant economist, statesman, and federal commissioner of finance from 1967 to 1971. Awolowo understood that true economic independence requires monetary independence. He looked at the word Nigeria and saw in it the name of our future currency, Naira. Simple, elegant, undeniably Nigerian. But creating a name was just the beginning. Someone had to actually launch this currency to bring it into existence, and that person was Shehu Shagari, a serving minister of finance in 1973, working under the military regime of General Yakubu Gowon. Shagari oversaw one of the most significant economic transformations in Nigerian history. On January 1st, 1973, amid fanfare and national celebration, the Naira was born. The conversion was straightforward. 1 Nigeria pound became 2 Naira. The introduction was carefully planned. The first notes were in denominations of 10 Naira, 5 Naira, 1 Naira and 50 kobo. Coins came in 20 kobo, 10 kobo, 5 kobo, 1 kobo and half kobo denominations. At its launch, the Naira was strong, remarkably strong. The official exchange rate was 1 Naira to $1.52. Think about that. Our currency was worth more than the American dollar. 1 Naira could buy you $1.50 worth of goods anywhere in the world. It was a moment of immense national pride. Nigeria had its own currency, a currency that reflected our identity, our aspirations, and our sovereignty. The word kobo was chosen to represent the smaller denomination derived from copper, as these coins were copper-colored. 100 kobo make 1 Naira, just as 100 cents makes a dollar. The Naira story over the next 5 decades will be one of the constant evolution, responding to Nigeria's changing economic landscape, security challenges, and growing economy. In 1977, just 4 years after the Naira's introduction, something unprecedented happened. On February 11th, Nigeria issued its highest denomination yet, the 20 Naira note. But this wasn't just about creating a higher value note. This was about national memory and honor. The 20 Naira note became the first Nigerian currency to bear the portrait of a prominent Nigerian citizen, the late General Murtala Ramat Mohammed, who has been assassinated in a coup attempt the previous year. Murtala had ruled for only 200 days, but his impact was profound. Putting his face on our currency was a statement. Heroes will be remembered. This started a tradition. In 1978, Nigeria declared 3 figures national heroes: Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, our first Prime Minister; Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, our first President; and Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the man who named our currency. Their portraits began appearing on our banknotes, turning every transaction into a reminder of our history. But currency isn't just about commemoration, it's about security. In April 1984, under the military government of Muhammadu Buhari, yes, the same Buhari who will later become a president, Nigeria faced this crisis. Currency trafficking was rampant. Corrupt officials and criminals had smuggled billions of naira out of the country. The solution was dramatic. Change the colors of all banknotes in circulation, except the 50 kobo notes. Anyone with old note had a limited time to exchange them. Those who couldn't explain where their money came from, they lost it. It was controversial, it was disruptive, but it sent a message. Through the 1980s and 1990s, Nigeria's economy faced challenges. Structural adjustment programs, military rules, economic mismanagement all took their toll on the Naira. The exchange rate began its long, painful decline. But the currency itself kept evolving. In 1991, The 50 kobo and 1 naira notes were replaced by coins. Paper money was being reserved for higher values. The economy was growing, transactions were getting larger, and the currency needed to keep pace. By the late 1990s, democracy had returned to Nigeria. President Olusegun Obasanjo took office in 1999, bringing with him Charles Chukwuma Soludo as an economic advisor, who would later become central bank governor. They recognized that Nigerians' expanding economy needed higher denomination notes to facilitate transactions efficiently. And so began a remarkable period of currency expansion. December 1999, the 100 naira note was introduced. November 2000, the 200 naira note was introduced, and April 2001, the 500 naira note came into existence. And October 2005, the 1000 naira note, our highest denomination to date, came to light. These weren't just larger numbers, they represented Nigeria's growing economic power and the reality of inflation that had diminished the purchasing power of lower denominations. In 2007, Nigeria embraced innovation. On February 28, the central bank issued a 20 naira note in polymer substrate plastic money, more durable than paper, harder to counterfeit, and better suited to Nigerians' climate. The 50, 10, and 5 naira notes were reissued in new designs. New coins were introduced, including a 2 naira coin. Throughout these changes, different governors of Central Bank of Nigeria left their marks. Joseph Sanusi from 1999 to 2004 navigated the introduction of higher denominations. Charles Soludo from 2004 to 2009 implemented aggressive banking sector's reforms. Sanusi Lamido Sanusi from 2009 to 2014 pushed cashless banking policies and cleaned up the banking sector, making powerful enemies in the process. In 2014, as Nigerians celebrated 100 years since the amalgamation that created our nation, the central bank did something special. They issued a 100 naira commemorative note, Nigerian first currency, with a QR code. Scan it with your phone and it will take you to a website about Nigerians' history, old and new, paper and digital, history and technology, all in one note. That same year, Godwin Emefiele became central bank governor, a position he would hold controversially until 2023. Under his watch, Nigeria would experience some of its most dramatic currency moments. But perhaps the most groundbreaking moment came in 2019. Not a new denomination, not a new redesign, but something that might seem small, yet was monumentally significant. The Naira began featuring the signature of Priscilla Ekwere Eleje, the new director of currency operation of the Central Bank of Nigeria. She was the first woman to hold this position. Every Naira note now bore a woman's signature. In a country where women have fought for recognition and equality, this was powerful symbolism. Money literally signed by a woman circulating through millions of hands daily. Then came 2021, and perhaps the most futuristic development in Nigerian currency history, the Naira. Not a physical note or coin, but a digital currency launched in October 2021.
I have it to the house. So what do we do? That is it.
That is it.
Nigeria became one of the first countries in Africa to launch a central bank digital currency. The Naira exists entirely in digital wallets, can be transferred instantly via smartphone, and represents the next evolution of money. Some embraced it enthusiastically, others remained skeptical. Adoption has been gradual. but the significance is undeniable. Nigeria is preparing for a future where physical cash may become optional. Now, which brings us to one of the most controversial moments in Nigerian currency history, the 2022 to 2023 currency redesign. On November 23rd, 2022, President Muhammadu Buhari launched newly designed 200, 500 and 1000 naira notes. The central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele, stated the goal was to curb counterfeiting, reduce the amount of cash outside the banking system, and promote a cashless economy. But the implementation became a crisis.
You don't have to buy money, you have to buy your own money with your own money. Yesterday in Abuja, I collected 10,000 and they gave me 8,000. Today it's the same thing.
Issue of new or old is not the issue. Extend or no extend is not the issue. The issue is if you people decided to give us new one, let them make ATM and inside the bank today open that. Go there and get what you want.
You with your
Beginning in January 2023, Nigerians were told to deposit their old high denomination notes and collect new ones, but there wasn't enough notes. Banks ran out, ATMs were empty, long queues formed everywhere, businesses couldn't get cash to operate, people couldn't access their own money. In a country where the vast majority of transactions are still cash-based, where millions don't have bank accounts, this was catastrophic. Protests erupted, violence broke out. The Supreme Court had to intervene, extending deadlines and eventually ruled that old notes should remain legal tender alongside the new ones. The crisis exposed deep problems, poor planning and inadequate infrastructure. The gap between policy and implementation, it showed how currency isn't just an economic tool, it's a social lifeline. When you disrupt it, disrupt lives. By mid-2023, Emefiele had been suspended and later arrested on various charges. Olayemi Cardoso became the new central bank governor in September 2023, inheriting an economy in turmoil, a currency in crisis, and a population that had lost trust. The Naira's exchange rate, which had been artificially managed for years, was allowed to float more freely. The result, a dramatic devaluation. From around 460 Naira to $1 at the start of 2023, the rate crashed to over 1,500 Naira to $1 by 2024. Compare that to 1973, when 1 Naira was worth more than $1. The decline tells a story of economic mismanagement, corruption, over-reliance on oil, and structural problems that no currency redesign could solve. Today, as we look at our Naira notes, we see more than money. We see the faces of our founding fathers. We see the signature of the first woman director of currency operations. We see security features that tell of battles against counterfeiting. We see denominations that reveal decades of inflation, from cowrie shells to cryptocurrencies, from colonial pounds to a digital naira. Nigeria's currency journey mirrors our journey as a nation. Every triumph, every setback, every moment of hope and frustration, it's all there in our money. The people who shaped this story, Obafemi Awolowo named it, Shehu Shagari launched it, the central bank governors who managed it, and the millions of Nigeria who use it every day. They are all part of this narrative. As Nigeria continues to evolve, so will our currency. Perhaps one day, physical naira will be entirely digital. Perhaps new innovations we can't yet imagine will transform how we think about money. But whatever the future holds, the story of the naira will always be fundamentally the story of Nigeria itself. Kindly subscribe to this channel and click the like button to get more content of African history and Nigerian history, because the key to our future is in our past. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.